Hello, YouTube! My name is Random, and today we're looking at Star Trek Discovery Episode 3. Context is for Kings, and wow, I had to look up that title. Super not memorable. Anywho, we basically start off our third pilot of 4 so far for this series, with a nice recap of the first 2 pilots. And let me explain a little bit about why I'm saying this has multiple pilots. Episode 1 was on regular old CBS, meaning anybody could watch it, anybody with like TV, satellite, cable, whatever. Or even over the airwaves with the digital thingy, whatever it's called. I don't know the name of it, I don't have it. But yeah, just anybody could watch it on CBS. Episode 2 was episode 1's second half, and that was really the pilot trying to sell CBS All Access. And to me, that was a really, really cheap way to extort people into trying out All Access by splitting up the first episode over to 2 different networks. And behind a paywall at that. So, at the very least, behind like this trial service thing, you wouldn't necessarily have to pay for it, but you'd certainly have to sign up for it. And yeah, so boo Discovery, that's really shady. Shady as hell. I don't like that. That is one of my huge complaints about this show is the whole, in the United States, it's CBS All Access. Like, everywhere else gets it on Netflix. Why don't we? So, our actual first opening shot of, the first actual episode of Discovery is opening up with Michael Burnham looking all sad in her prison colony getup. Now, I can't really tell if she's sad she got kicked out of Starfleet, or sad she got her captain killed, or sad she started a war. From what we know of the character so far, I would totally believe that she's only sad she got in trouble and wasn't allowed to be right. She's totally one of those know-it-all, a little bit too big for her britches sort of characters. Sounds like Discovery read my thoughts. See all these new characters? I don't think they gave them names, so I'll call them guilt trip plot points. Their only real job in this episode is to drive home that Burnham is infamous, and, one had family on the Europa under good old Captain Hollow, whatever his name was. I don't remember. I just remember him being a hologram, which we shouldn't even have in Star Trek right now, but that's okay. So we're supposed to believe that Burnham feels bad. Real bad. Bad enough to remember the exact number of people that died because of her. Nice. Nice, Michael Burnham. Now, these people are all on their way to the prison colony when the shuttle gets attacked by plot convenience bugs. Of course, Burnham knows all about them, being the best person in the whole wide world. Or at least all of space and all of Starfleet, right? She knows everything about every species out there. Knows the exact designation of them, thinking she's 7 of 9 all of a sudden. But anyway, it turns out they'll feed on the shuttle's energy and leave them stranded to either freeze or suffocate, whichever comes first, but it's okay. The pilot will take care of it. And as everyone freaks out except for Burnham, who's accepting her fate of dying in space in a shuttle, enter the first shot of Discovery. This is the ship that our show is named for, which we really can't see because it's just a giant lens flare, but hey, why not, right? It's the disco, and I did nothing to this shot, it's just how the show looks. And after 2 pilot episodes, we get our third pilot of season 1, where we actually see the Discovery. Yay, an actual ship. I mean, it's a computer render and it's not a model, but I'll forgive it for that. Whew, boy. A ship that still looks nothing like any of the ships that should be floating around in the timeline, but hey, if we had to wait 3 episodes to see the Enterprise or even Deep Space Nine, people might be a little upset. But what do I know, right? And it's expositioned at us that it's a brand new ship, probably straight off the assembly line, without a ding in the floor, so it obviously looks like none of the other ships that are floating around, which in this timeline is 10 years before the original series. So right now, Spock is on the Enterprise with Captain Pike, and we're in the Cage era right now. So just remember that. Oh boy, the show. And we get a first look at our lovely Chief of Security. Good old, what's her name? Oh, I remember that. I remember because of Stargate. Landry. I remember it because Landry is a character in later seasons of Stargate. I kind of actually remember this one. She greets all the people just like you know, just like anybody rescued in the most Starfleet way by referring to them all as garbage, you know, because we've always, you know, just like Worf would do, right? He would totally call people he just rescued garbage, prisoners or not. Oh boy. Like that, I need to take a second to elaborate on this. She has such a bad attitude, such a chip on her shoulder. Like, if somebody were to tell me that this character came out of the mirror universe or something, I would not be surprised. And at this point in time, we don't know anything about her. I haven't looked at any spoilers past season, or past episode 12. I watched episode 12, so I kind of know what's coming. But if you told me this character came out of the mirror universe, I would believe it 100%. So, as we walk through the halls, we're expositioned out again that we're in a science vessel because of all the silver uniforms. But they give us a nice shot of this black badged armed security officer. Now, pay no attention to this. It's not important. It'll never come up again. It's just there to kind of let people start guessing. This might have been something that was set up when the original showrunner was in charge. They got rid of him and had to rewrite a whole bunch of stuff. Who knows? This might have actually been important. Not important. Who cares? It's never going to come up again. You know, we need to know there's security on the ship just to never see them. And yeah, but I mean, they make a point in showing us security. Woot. So, as our security chief says, we have to go and feed the animals. We get a nice guilt shot of this random crew member in the mess hall. Now, she got a boo-boo so Burnham can feel bad. Now, this is one of the biggest issues I do have with Discovery also. They're all biggest issues, but it sets up characters and does nothing with them. Why give us a bridge officer if you give her no lines and nothing to do? As I watched this for the review, I found out her character name is Kayla, and she does get some lines later on, but this isn't a show about the crew. This is a show about Michael Burnham. Everybody else on the show is only there so Michael Burnham can have attention. This is just to bounce lines off of, just to make her feel bad, just to give her something to do. And I want to know about this crew member. She's a bridge officer. She was a bridge officer on the Shenzhou. What's her backstory? What's her name? What is she like? What's her specialty? What's her station? I don't even know what she does. Is she navigation? Is she tactical? Like, they give her so little to do. And it's so uninteresting when she does get a line. It's not her fault. I want to know about her. Like, I want to know this actress. Please tell me something about this character. Anybody, Discovery, fix the show. Oh boy. And of course, we have to have a nice little scuffle in the mess hall to prove that Burnham can fight. It's really not there for any reason other than to prove Burnham can kick ass. You know, she can show off that she knows Vulcan martial arts and... And so the security officer can take Burnham up to see the captain. Like, seriously, the security officer comes in and is like, hey, stop fighting, Captain wants to see you. You just dropped her off 4 seconds before. They just sat down to eat. He knows you guys rescued these people. It's so stupid. It's only there to prove that she can fight. I don't have any other explanation for this. It's like, why did they bother feeding them for 4 seconds anyway? Just to have this intense fight scene? Who cares? I don't care about it. And so now we get to meet Captain Lorca. Note the tribble on his desk for fan service. We learn that it's so dark because he has a war injury. To me, it just seems like it's a nice way of apologizing to everybody for saying, you know, hey, turn on the freaking lights. It's a workplace. People need to see to work on the ship. That was also one of my big complaints about Discovery, is that it's so freaking dark. But you know what? They're going to try and write it into the show. It's an important plot point. It comes up here and there. I can forgive it when they actually give me some explanation for something. Like I said, I want to really like the show. It's just making it so hard. Let me love you, Discovery. You're not making it easy. Oh, boy. And so Lorca wants Burnham to work for him. She just wants to be all emo and go to jail and But he convinces her to help out with some mild intimidation. I do like Lorca here. He's a tough as nails kind of wartime captain. He would really be great in a Western as that sort of anti-hero. He's one of the few things I really like in the show so far. He's kind of a badass. He's sort of intimidating, but he just doesn't seem to fit in Star Trek Discovery. He seems a little too much of a war captain, and we'll get to that at the end of this episode. But you know, he's cool and he's interesting, and sadly, this is not an ensemble cast, so they really they do a sort of okay job about it. But you know, this is the Michael Burnham show. It's the Michael Burnham show. We don't need to know anything about anybody. Nobody else is important. Now, the other thing I really like is Tilly, Cadet Tilly. Oh, wow. She's like probably the best character on the show, in my opinion, so far from what I've seen. So, Burnham is sent to Buck with the very awesome Tilly, and Tilly is set up as someone with special needs like allergies and snoring, because that's a special need. I mean, yeah, she's a little chatty and a little socially awkward, but I wouldn't say she's special needs by any means. She's so real and interesting, too. She even has a cute way of telling Burnham that she stole her bunk, because as you can see here, right over here, all these things say, Tilly, Sylvia, that's her name. So Burnham's on her bunk. So they get the bed sorted out, and Tilly does her actual interesting, talkative, quirky deduction of figuring out that Michael Burnham is the mutineer. Ah, poor Tilly. She went from instant roomie BFF to, oh, she's that Michael Burnham. Maybe I should stay away from her. But hey, you know, she's still really interesting, and I like Tilly quite a bit. She's actually doing probably the best job, or she's either given the best direction, or she's just that good. I don't know, but give this girl an award. She's good. Now, since this is the third pilot episode, there's a ton to set up, like this new black alert thing. Tilly can't say anything about it since Burnham wasn't briefed on it, so we see all these weird things happening and floating around with this black alert. But you know, strange things are afoot at the local Circle K. But they gotta cut over to a nice little walk and talk where Burnham and Saru can catch up a little. Now, Saru is the first officer here on Discovery after being science officer over on Shenzhou that got blown up, and I'm probably saying the ship's name wrong. We get a great line from him telling her that he believes she's dangerous and something to fear. We also get a great burn where he says, "I will do a better job protecting my captain than you did yours." Yes. I really liked him in this episode. I at this point in time watching the show, when I first watched it, my thoughts were, I want to see more of him. I want more of an ensemble cast. I want to see the people that we interact with on a daily basis in this show, and less Michael Burnham. She's a chore to get through her character. And I cannot attribute that to acting or anything, but script and direction. It's got to be it, because the girl could probably act. I don't really see her in a lot of stuff, but I'm sure she's fine. Woot. And now we get a first look at engineering-ish. It sort of looks like engineering, sort of. I mean, it's the best it's the best for what we're given, right? And we learn that it's got breath-locked security places despite being Starfleet. You know, but it's special because it's Discovery, so we gotta have breath locks. And we meet Lieutenant Stamets. He's kind of a dick, but I do kind of like him in this episode. He seems to have a chip on his shoulder against Captain Lorca, which is kind of cool. And he wants to have Burnham check out some work before he really lets her in on what's going on. He doesn't want her there. He doesn't know why the captain's bringing in this mutineer onto his bridge, or onto his engineering deck, rather. I do like him. I like that he kind of has an attitude. Now he kind of comes across as pretty much know-it-all-y and a little bit full of himself as well, but not in an unlikable way like Michael Burnham does. So at least that's the impression I get while watching this episode. So of course she's Michael Burnham and she has to be smarter than everyone and finds an error in the work. But she won't leave it at that. She needs to know what's going on. course, here we find out that an old colleague of Stamets is on a similar ship called the Glen, working on a similar super secret project. We find out that they don't grow their own, or whatever that's supposed to mean at this point in the episode, and have better and faster results. More on that after this. And of course, we need to show that Michael Burnham is the bestest person on the whole ship and is smart enough to outthink their little security system, which I do have a huge problem with. So she uses Tilly's drool to show off how smart she is by transforming it into breath to break into the top secret area in engineering. But here's the thing. Who are they locking out? The whole ship is super secret. Crew members, not from engineering, would still have some clue about what's up with that whole black alert thing going off. It's stupid and secure for them to have that breath locked. It's as if it was only set up for a way to show off how super and perfectly smart Burnham is. It really serves no other purpose than for her to break in. And why not just put a freaking security camera in a corner? Or maybe throw one of those armed guards that we saw earlier with a black badge down there, something to keep out people. I mean, if it's that much of a top super secret thing. But that security camera issue will come up again in the series. Maybe not so much this episode, but it will be something I do want to address later on. Seriously, put a freaking CCTV camera in there. You have a ship. You can store massive amounts of data. Cameras are probably the size of pinholes in the future. You can probably just put up a sensor array and have a holographic image at this point of everybody coming and going. Oh. But after Michael Burnham breaks into the super secret thing, it's plants. Just plants. A bunch of plants. She doesn't know what they're for. Just plants. It's like, woo, plants. So here we are after Lorca finds out that something happened to the Glen. Oh no, not the Glen. We love that ship and the crew that were only there to get destroyed. Sure, we love them. We saw one person from the Glen in hollow form. And Lorca assembles an away team of the most qualified people on the ship. That cadet Tilly, who is fast-tracked through the academy because she's a whiz at theoretical engineering. This mutineer prisoner. And the most qualified person, actually, not even sarcastically, is the security chief. Stamets is there since he knows what research to look for, and we have a couple of red shirts to get killed, but, why Tilly and Burnham? Who knows? And when they get to the Glen, they find a pile of dead Klingons. So, something's loose on the ship. And I will point out that this is where we really get a good look at, this is not your family's Star Trek show. This is M-rated, gore. This is one of the better shots that I found where Klingons were barely ripped to pieces. But yeah, they're gory, they're bloody, they're just dismembered, everything. This guy, I do love this. This made me laugh a little bit. I do love this right here. I had a good what the fuck moment with the shushing Klingon. He shushes them so whatever turned the other Klingons into a pile of ground Chuck won't hear them. Sadly, that doesn't work out for him. Now, I had to go frame by frame to get a good look at this guy, but here's our cute little Klingon grinder. Look at him, he's so cute. And we spend a few minutes in this episode trying to be alien as we run from the cute monstie that, can just tear through doors and rip Klingons to shreds, but hey. While Burnham, on the other hand, is wandering around through Jeffrey's tubes reciting Alice in Wonderland because it's pretentious, because she's supposed to look smart, because we're in a rabbit hole. Oh boy. Man, this freaking shot. Only to have Burnham prove that she's the best. Posing like a superhero and everything, she lands in the shuttle. And they got all the info they needed, apparently. I must have missed that part. Because, this right here is one of the things I hate about it. You're not a superhero. You're not a Vulcan. I don't even like you. Just stop. Just stop. You're not that great. I don't want to know. I don't want to know whose good idea this was. This shot just bothers me so much. But, and so all is good once they get back to the ship, right? Burnham's rewarded for breaking into the super secret lab with a nice job offer and a tour of what the crap is going on. Turns out the ship can jump anywhere using spores. Yup. Shrooms. Because the universe is connected through shrooms. I don't know. It's what the writers probably had in the room. Makes more sense than Hooker's blow and the tears of disappointed Star Trek fans, I guess. Now we get to see why Burnham was quoting Lewis Carroll, just so she could give the book to Tilly right here to get to be, so they get to be roomies, and Burnham opens up a bit about how Spock's mother Amanda used to read it to her as a kid because Spock's mother adopted her, and we needed something to tie this scene to the scene where she's crawling around. Sure. And it just pisses me off because it reminds us that she's shoehorned into being Spock's adopted sister. And I don't like that. We could have really gone with, like, new characters. We could have left Spock out of this. Like, seriously. And bye-bye, Glenn. We never cared about you. You're only there to explode. But we end on Lorca's morbid man cave, filled with some of the deadliest creatures in Star Trek. Complete with a Gorn skeleton, and it seems like something an upstanding captain would have, right? Goes well with Picard's archaeological stuff and models of ships. I'm sure just off screen, Kirk and Picard had rooms filled with torture devices and trophies filled with enemies they killed, right? That's a thing Star Trek captains do, right? It's very Starfleet. Yeah, that's it. It was just off screen. And, of course, in his man cave, he's also the monstie that can turn Klingons into mincemeat. Gee, what are they setting up here? What we already know is coming, which I won't spoil for you if you guys haven't seen it. As I said, I'm already on episode 12, and we knew what was coming in this episode. In episode 3, we kind of knew. Things were kind of set up, but all in all, this episode pissed me off quite a bit. They crammed a lot in. There was a little bit of things that I liked, like Tilly. Lorca's pretty interesting. Had they not been so heavy-handed with a lot of things that are off about him. But yeah, wow. Star Trek Discovery. Pilot number 3 in the bag. Anyway, thanks so much for listening, everybody. Thanks for listening to me recap whatever this is. It's Star Trek, sort of. I mean, it's in references to Star Trek. It doesn't feel like Star Trek to me, but, hey, what do you guys think? Are you watching the show too? Please don't. Watch Babylon 5, watch Red Dwarf, watch The Orville, watch Stargate, watch anything. I will take the bullet and dissect everything. There's a lot of us awesome people out there who are dissecting the show. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys on the next episode of this or the next live stream, wherever you catch me. Bye!